Okay, so for the purpose of what we're going to do here today, we're going to need to be very objective. So let's forget that Fani Willis is black. Let's forget that Nathan Wade is black. And let's forget that they're bringing charges against Donald Trump, one of the most hated figures in America that many people feel deserves to be in jail for one reason or another. Forget that Willis and Wade were involved in an extramarital affair, and even forget that he was working on the case as her subordinate. Put aside all of these potential reasons for bias, and let's just take a look at the facts and what the laws tell us. First of all, in Georgia and also in many other states, there are very strict regulations governing the conduct of prosecutors to avoid not just misconduct, but even the appearance of it. One of those regulations states that prosecutors must report any gifts they receive from someone with an aggregate value of more than $100 within a year. That can be a physical gift or entertainment like lunch, dinner, trips, etc. And even if the individual value of the gift is small, like say someone was taken to lunch and the bill only came up to $20, if they take you to lunch 5 times in the year and the total of everything combined comes up to over $100, prosecutors have to report it. Also, regulations state that prosecutors are not allowed to benefit financially from their prosecutions, and that's for obvious reasons. So keeping that in mind, let's take a look at what happened between Willis and Wade. They were involved in a romantic relationship, and during the course of that relationship, they went on trips together, enjoyed dinners and other forms of entertainment together. Okay, now during this time, a substantial amount of Wade's income came from the money he was being paid by the District of Fulton County and the state of Georgia for his work on the Trump prosecution. Because of this, any money he then used to entertain Miss Willis has to be seen as a situation in which she is benefiting financially from the prosecution. As such, there was an obligation on her to report those gifts, repay Wade for such gifts, and be able to provide proof that the cost of those gifts were repaid. Now, both Miss Willis and Mr. Wade maintain that Miss Willis reimbursed him for those gifts. However, they are unable to provide any receipts to prove that such reimbursements actually occurred. When asked why, they claim that this is because the repayments were made in cash. Now, it is important to remember that even if we believe that she paid him back and the payments were in cash, Miss Willis is still in violation of the rules for doing that, because doing that makes her unable to provide proof of repayment. That alone necessitates her being removed from the Trump prosecution. The only difference is that it provides an excuse for a sympathetic judge to allow her to remain as the district attorney, if he chooses to believe that this is just a case of her being careless rather than being corrupt. However, even with that said, there's other information which came out in the hearing which closes the door on the possibility of any such benefit of the doubt. Now, I'm going to ignore that to my eyes Wade looked like he was lying through his teeth when he told the hearing that he had been paid back. I'm going to ignore that and simply stick to solid facts rather than relying on my subjective observations. Now, under normal circumstances, there should still be evidence that people could provide to support their statement of cash repayment, cash withdrawals from the bank accounts of the person who paid, and cash deposits to the bank accounts of those who received the payment. Again, however, neither Wade nor Willis could provide any such evidence. On his part, Wade maintained that he had not deposited the money. Now, this is about $10,000 or something close to it, which would be an unusually large amount of money to keep outside of your bank account, but his position is that that is what he did. For her part, Willis maintains that she didn't need to withdraw cash from the bank because she had been trained by her father to always keep a sizable amount of cash at home. And she was backed up in this statement by testimony from her father, who confirmed that he did indeed teach her this. Though at the same time, he also cast some degree of doubt on the veracity of this, because he confirmed that he had been prepped by her attorneys to answer this question. So that, yes, that doesn't do much for his credibility on that statement at all. So what then? If we take all their statements at face value, it does seem plausible, correct? Unusual, certainly, but certainly plausible, right? Not so fast. If this is all actually true, that Willis has all this cash on hand because she always follows this practice her father ingrained in her, then what would she do after each instance of her paying a couple $1,000s to Wade here, another few hundred there, 1,000 or so on another occasion? Clearly, she would then withdraw some cash from her accounts to replenish her supply of cash at home. The cash that she had been trained by her father to always have on hand. The cash she told the court she always kept wherever she laid her head. However, Miss Willis has been unable to provide any evidence of such cash withdrawals. So taking all this into account, it seems the inescapable conclusion is that Miss Willis never reimbursed Mr. Wade for the cost of the trips he took her on, and that she's in serious violation of the regulations governing her position as district attorney. And then, not just that, but then she has taken the extraordinary step of lying about it in sworn statements and in open court. As such, the only appropriate action is that Ms. Willis be removed not just from the case, but also from her position as district attorney, and then both Willis and Wade be investigated by the relevant authorities for the crime of perjury, as well as any other financial crimes they have likely committed by deciding not to report their financial transactions. Normally, I would say that's my opinion and ask you for yours, but really this time around, this is not a subjective opinion. It is undeniable that both Willis and Wade have committed crimes and need to be dealt with according to the fullest extent of the law. Do let me know in the comments, however, if there's anything I've missed that you'd like to add in, and I'll see you in the next video.